The other night, I was talking to my friends about how my life was when I was a super little kid, and about how much video games I played, and how much I looked forward to playing them at pretty much every point in my life. So, I'm gonna start at the very beginning and try not to miss anything. I'm sure I'm going to, but I'm gonna try my best not to. The first console I ever had was the Wii, and I think I got it in 2010. I know I played Madden on it at some point, but the first game I ever fell in love with was New Super Mario Bros. Wii. I played this game so much, I pretty much played it the entire school year that I was in kindergarten, which was 2011 to 2012. And I remember this was probably the most popular game in school at the time. Like, my best friend had it, and his older brother was pretty good at it. I specifically remember that my friend insisted we only play World 1 with him, though, because he didn't think he was good enough to play anything else. But his brother was about as good as me, and we both had single player worlds that were advancing at a similar rate. I also remember there were other kids who played the game who I wasn't as good friends with, but we would talk about it. And then I almost forgot, like, this genre of games, which I'm not sure exactly what to call, but just like computer games at school. This is eventually leading to cool math games. But in kindergarten, the big game in my class was this Wildcrats game. I don't even know if this game is still on the internet or whatever. It's super old, but basically you had to control different animals and do different things with them. Like, there was kangaroo boxing, and I remember there's this bat gliding version of the game. Anyways, me and like four other kids from my class each had a special mini game we were good at in the Wildcrats game. And once you beat them all, there was some sort of extra level or game you unlocked. By the way, I'm just putting Run 2 on the screen now because I literally couldn't find the game I was looking for. Like, I think it's just like scrapped from the internet completely. But we only had so much free time, so we had to try and race to beat all the levels or mini games. And I remember one time this girl who never played with us wanted to try, and we're all like, no, you're going to fuck this up because you've never played, so you don't know what you're doing. But then she told the teacher, and the teacher made us let her play, and she fucked everything up and ruined our chances and shit, and everyone was super pissed at her. But overall, around this time, New Super Mario Bros. Wii was definitely my favorite game. Still is one of my favorite games ever. But moving on to like later on a little bit, I don't really play that much video games. Because my best friend at the time, the one with the older brother that also played Mario, moved away, and the kids that I was friends with later in first grade didn't really play games like me. I'd still play when I was alone, mostly just like Madden, but actually the big thing that happened around this time was my Wii broke, and we got an Xbox 360 instead to replace it. So around this time, I was only playing games by myself, and it was really like weird niche games, I think. Like, I remember there's this one called Adventure Time Explore the Dungeon because I don't know why. Like, I'm pretty sure that was the name of the game. I don't remember the objective. It was just some like shitty Adventure Time game for the Xbox 360. And this was the first year I got into following baseball and basketball. So I played NBA 2K13 and also MLB 2K13, which was actually a thing that existed, and it was the last year it did. It's either 2K13 or 12 was the last year, because after that, the only way you could play baseball games was on PlayStation, because MLB The Show had and still has a monopoly, I think. But overall, didn't play a ton of games that year. But after that, in like second and third grade, there were so many games I was playing. First one I have to talk about definitely is Halo. I thought when I was a little kid I was playing Halo 2. For some reason, I don't know why. Turned out it was Halo Anniversary, which came out in 2011. And I played this game genuinely so fucking much. This was the game I played whenever anyone came over. We'd mostly play Slayer, which is just a version of the game where you 1v1, or however many people there are, and you just like try and kill each other. It could be 3 or 4, I think, also. Or we would sometimes play the campaign, which was also fun. We never got that far, but I love the maps in the game. I still remember there was a desert one. I remember the default one where it was like above water or something. Just in general, loved this game though, and played it a ton during that time, like second, third, fourth grade. Now, the next game I'm talking about probably is going to end up deserving more time than I'm going to give it, but I'm going to try my best, and that's fucking Minecraft. So, Minecraft came out in 2009, I think, for PC, but it released on Xbox 360 around the time I was in second grade, so that's when I started playing it. But honestly, maybe the main thing I remember about this game was how much stuff I watched on it. I watched so much stuff about the game. I remember watching Stampy and his Race to Kill the Ender Dragon series with iBallistic Squid, which was fucking awesome. I remember I watched this one Minecraft series called The Badness, which not that many people know, I think. It was just like the first Minecraft Let's Play series I ever watched. It was like a multiplayer series. I just generally have so many good memories with the game, and it was super popular. Probably it was the most popular game in school for sure. Me and my two best friends at the time would play together after school all the time. Also, I can't forget about Xbox Addictions, which was another channel. It was this channel that would just like troll little kids while playing Minecraft, and it was fucking hilarious. And me and my friends would basically copy it and just like do the same thing to the little brothers.
Oh, is that you hacking right now?
Yeah. I just blew up China.
Oh my god.
I gotta get off in like 20 minutes. I have a bedtime.
How are you the president of the United States, but you have a bedtime?
Because my mom lives with me. Look, I'm Squidward.
That's not Squidward, dude. That looks nothing like Squidward.
You're right, it looks more like Mr. Krabs.
Can you feel it now, Mr. Krabs?
No!
Can you feel it now, Mr. Krabs?
I'm not Mr. Krabs.
I also played a lot of creative at the time specifically, and like that's what's sick about Minecraft is like I was just awful at building, and I still am, but I can just go into creative, or could when I was a little kid, just make whatever I wanted, and it was pretty easy. I usually just be like a shitty tower or like a mob statue or something. I think I covered everything I wanted to with Minecraft. I'm sure I probably missed something. Anyways, great fucking game. It's the most popular game in school for a while. I played a lot of it during this time. So after this, we're moving into when I was in like 4th and 5th grade, and during this time, Clash Royale blew the fuck up. Everyone was playing it, and it was super easy to play because it was a mobile game. I remember my school used to take the kids that went to after school to this community center, and all of us would just take out our phones or iPads and grind Clash Royale for sometimes like 2 hours. So that was the most popular game during this time, but my favorite game of this time period, and maybe all time, is Far Cry Primal. Far Cry has a ton of great games, and I think the consensus is that Far Cry 3 is the best one, but that came out when I was 6, so I never played it. But this game was pretty much everything I wanted in a video game at the time. I was obsessed with the Ice Age animals in the game. Had saber-toothed tigers, wolves, the mammoths. Pretty sure you could ride a bear at some point. I remember the game had the Udon people, which were just like the game's version of Neanderthals. You had to kill them and fight them. And then also the Azili people, which were like other humans, but they knew how to use fire really well or something. And usually had to fight and kill them too. This game, though, is sick, and it's probably my favorite game of all time, to be honest. Okay, so now moving into when I was in middle school, there was only one game anyone cared about, including me, and it's the game I have the most time on, I think, which is Fortnite. Now, I fell in love with the competitive side of the game pretty much instantly, which isn't what most other kids liked, but I was just drawn to it. I remember watching Tfue play scrims and all the early skirmish tournaments, and I just loved watching that stuff. I wasn't old enough or good enough to play in any of those tournaments, but I remember they lowered the age to compete to 13 when World Cup qualifiers were coming out, so I was able to play in that, and that was super fun. Recently, I've been kind of getting back into the game and watching stuff about it, and it's super weird, honestly, because it's like a storied esport now. I mean, people are making video essays about who the GOAT is and about certain tournaments from years ago, and it's like the type of shit that I would have loved to have back then, but the game was just too young and it wasn't at that point yet. Also, just generally, I miss the fact that I could get completely immersed in games. Like, a lot of times when I'm playing now, I have real life shit in the back of my head, and I miss being able to be completely distracted, and this was the last game that did that for me completely. Also, before this video ends, I want to say I've noticed that, like, there's kind of been a shift recently back to what I think video games were probably like in the early 2000s, where it's kind of looked down upon and like, oh, it's some nerd shit. And I just think it's interesting because in the mid, like, 2010s, early 2010s, there was a shift where it became more mainstream and, like, it was cool to play video games. So I just think that's interesting.